Hey everyone, back with another video. Today I'm going to talk about Viper again. Seems like you guys are enjoying the Viper content, or it could just be that the channel is growing and I'm getting more views. But regardless of that, I think it's important that Viper Split is talked about. Double controller, obviously. Same format. I'm just going to be doing attack this time, so roles and responsibilities, util usage, and then kind of some macro stuff to talk about and consider when you're doing your stuff, right? So one thing that's important is the way that teams play is really dependent on the way that the Viper util is being thrown. It's not as dependent as Icebox, of course, because you're on this map, you're double controller, but generally, you know, the way that teams default is going to be based around the way the Viper is creating pressure, okay? So let's just talk about some before we talk about Viper specific stuff, let's talk about the comp. So generally you're gonna see a lot of this. I'm gonna put up my favorite comp, which is this, as the comp that Sentinels run. I think it's really strong. But generally what you're gonna see is you're gonna see some type of 3x group, and then you're gonna see lurkers on the extremities, okay? And really, this is what you're going to see a majority of the time, okay? The way that teams default is you're going to see this 3x in mid a lot of the time. Sorry, here. Right? You're going to see a smoke male or smoke vents, either one of these. And then a sky flash. They're going to have different ways that they approach the round. And then your Viper is going to be responsible for either creating pressure on A, or your Viper is going to be responsible for creating pressure on B. And when you're, you know, the Cypher is usually going to be opposite of that. So the cool thing about this comp is you have double controller, but actually you kind of have 6 smokes. Sorry, not 6 smokes, but you have 5 smokes, a Viper wall, and I'm going to count the Cypher cages as smokes, okay? So you have insane vision denial, okay? So you can deny this choke, deny this choke, deny this, this, and this. You can deny vision across the map, okay? So one thing that I've talked about in the past is this idea on defense about getting deep lines, right? Getting these deep lines, right? Getting this line or getting this line, and being able to stack away from that because you understand that you're gonna have early information, and when you have early information on one of these deep lines, you can rotate properly and get yourself in good spots, okay? So from an attack side perspective with this comp, the strength of it is that you have a lot of vision denial. You can manipulate rotations. You can play the rounds out, you know, slowly, and you can kind of push, pull, pivot. And if you guys watched when I say push, pull, pivot, that means if you get control of mid and you push up B heaven, your intention is to pull rotations from the other side and then pivot to the side that rotated away from their site, if that makes sense, okay? Now, one other thing that I want to talk about before I get into Viper specific stuff is this idea of the 1-3-1, right? And really what you're doing by blocking vision on both extremities is you're creating pressure. And when you create pressure, teams are going to have a reaction to that. They're going to do something. They're going to look for information. They're going to try to fight to re-clear you. Or maybe they're going to, you know, keep 2 people there because they don't feel safe, right? So when they keep 2 people on a site and you're a solo player, you've done your job as a lurker. You've created enough pressure to keep 2 people on your site. You did it as a one person. That means that your 3x should have an easier time pushing up towards B heaven or going into vents with the intention to do this push, pull, pivot that I'm talking about, okay? Now, that might also create a timing for your lurker on B to go out and get more aggressive and take a 1v1 fight. And that's really the name of the game on Split. You want a 1-3-1 with the intention of creating pressure on both sides and denying vision to keep 1 to 2 people on the site, or at least bait out utility, so that your mid players can do this push up B heaven to pull rotations from A. Sorry for the squiggly lines, but I think you guys are following me. To then pivot back towards A. And while you're pivoting back towards A, this lurker takes a 1v1 on this fight, or comes up ramp and pinches with you guys, so you have 3-on-1, 3-on-2 at the worst, okay? That's really the name of the game when it comes to split attack. and slow playing the rounds with a double controller comp, okay? So let's talk about Viper specific stuff here. Let's start with A, just because it's the most common thing that we've seen in the meta. Really, there's two main walls, defaulty walls, that I'm going to talk about. So you have this wall this is just the standard default wall, and then you also have another wall. This is the DRX wall, and it's like that. And really, what you want to consider here is info denial and cutting deep lines. Okay, so now typically you're going to see orbs paired with one of these walls. You're going to see an orb here paired with this wall. Okay, and really the reason for that is you cut vision here, so people looking screens cannot see if you crossed, and then you have this orb top ramp. They can't peek to see if you're crossing, right? So what do they have to do? They have to either use sky util, right? They can sky flash this to see if you're here. They can dog reclear ramp, right? And stuff like that. Or they can just send bodies to walk and reclear and fight it. In that case, your job as a lurker is complete. One, you're baiting out utility. Or two, you're getting people to come and fight you. And your job then is to communicate. One, try your best to stay alive or at least get a kill. But two, communicate how many people are there, which agents there are, and then that should give your IGL, or even if you're IGLing, gives a signal to the rest of the team to speed up elsewhere, okay? Now, one thing that I want to talk about before I get in game here is this idea of reading the sky util as an indication of what type of setup that the enemy team might be running, okay? So let's just say I do this wall, for example, okay? Let's say I do this wall and this orb, and let's say they're running the same comp as me. 1, 2, 3, 4, what am I missing, Viper? 5, okay? They're running the same comp as me. And I noticed that the enemy team is not using any sky util on it. I've popped my wall up, my orb up twice. I've made a couple footsteps here to signal that I might be going ramp. Hell, maybe even my sky has flashed ramp for me. But they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything to make sure that I'm not across. What does that mean? That means that they probably have some type of, they either have people standing here, waiting for you, right? And they know that you're not up, or it means that they have a Cypher trip, okay? So one thing about Cypher, and I want to draw a parallel between like Cypher and having deep lines or advanced info. Having this info trip up is the same thing as having people on top of this orb, right? The only thing is it's better because now you can stack away from it, right? So sometimes as Viper, you need to be able to read what the enemy team is doing. If they're not trying to re-clear me, maybe that's a signal that Cypher is towards A, or they have a deep trip towards A. Okay, maybe that means I should take the gamble to go across and try to see if I can break this trip, right? Because once you break this trip, what does that do? It's gonna pressure that single Cypher player, whether he's playing on site or have it, doesn't matter. It's gonna pressure him to call for a rotation. And now you have two people here, you're solo, you took a little bit of risk crossing, but you're doing it intelligently because, again, it's just a logical decision. Okay, they're not re-clearing me, that means something is up, right? Either way, if you go across and you run into two people here, that means you have a good read on what the setup is. Your teammates should just go for a B split at that point, right? Or while you're going across ramp, you tell your teammates, yo, guys, let's try to get into vent and we can pinch these guys top ramp if they're there, right? So that's pretty much what you want to think about as Viper. Try to understand what type of util they're using. Understand that if you're using util to re-clear you, that's because they don't have players in those areas and they think that the threat is more viable, right? If that's the case, that means that they're probably light on A site. Let me say that again. If teams are using util to re-clear you or stall you out, that means that they're probably light on that site because they're doing it to get information to see if they need a rotation or not, okay? So that's pretty much it on A. I will get in server now. I'm gonna show you guys just how I throw this util and then some mollies to support. Again, with the mollies, guys, super important. Stop with this post plant bullshit. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but you want to support your teammates with mollies. Clear angles out with the mollies. use them as anti-flood, right? So being able to molly here, here, or here is really, really important. I'm going to show you all three of these because it makes your duelist life easier. And what do we want? We don't want to be forced in these 1v1 situations where we got to play our lineups, or 1vx situation where we got to play our lineups. It's good to have them, but it should not be the only thing that you have in your arsenal as a Viper player or a Brimstone player or an Astra, you know what I mean? Being able to just suck the bomb, okay? So let's start with this wall. Standard wall, you just get in this corner before the barrier, and all you're doing is you're just kind of just cut this, and then you cut just here. So you, right? And all this, and then you do this wall, and then you go back to this spot, and then as the orb drops at the barrier, there's a piece of glass here on top. You just aim at the tip of the glass, okay? So then when you pop both of these at the same time, I'll show you how much time it's up for. You can walk across. Now you can drop your wall. You can get in the orb. You can kind of take your time clearing out these angles. You can go one by one, and then you can come and deep peek here. Now you're not able to be seen from deep. You can pick up your orb again if you want. I mean, you can smoke deeper, right? And now you can wall up, orb up, and now you can kind of get into vents if you wanted to, right? There's a million different things you can do. You can pick your orb back up and you can leave, whatever, right? You can try to break a Killjoy turret if it's here and ranked. They won't really run that in matches too much. But anyways, that's the util pairings, okay? So those are the orb. That's the orb lineup. Let me show you another orb that I think is really strong before I go. I'll show you two more orbs that I think are really strong. So here's one of them. So what I do here is I go, so right here on this corner, the white diamond above the right click of my orb, I will jump throw right there, and this will go into screens, okay? And it's important that this one you don't throw one that bleeds out like this, because this gives people an exit out of the site, but also an entrance into the site by running through your mollies, through your orb. So throwing that orb, let me throw it again, and I'll throw a molly to pair with it. So here, and then you go here, as your orb's about to land, you molly. And that molly will go all the way to the back wall, so nobody can sit here and spam you, okay? Super important. This makes your duelist life, the life of your duelist and your scaler, 1,000,000 times easier, okay? They don't have to worry about getting spammed here. Now they can throw their nade heaven, or you can molly heaven, and they can nade here, and you guys can just insta-scale into the site, okay? Let me show you another molly. So here, same spot, just aim right at this corner. You just molly that, and that's gonna get heaven. So people can't spam. Obviously they can spam from here, but they can't run out of the smoke and sky flash out and just, they could, but they'll take damage, right? So those are the two mollies. Oh, one more molly, same spot. This light here, all the way to the edge of the gray, and you just throw, it looks like it's gonna shoot into the thing, but it doesn't, and that's gonna get map, okay? So mixing up these three mollies on your A hits when you guys decide to go fast is really, really strong, and something that you should be doing more often. Let me show you the other DRX wall. So it's here. Grab my wall back. DRX wall. Just go like that. Okay. And again, all it does is the same thing, right? Cuts the vision. Can't see anything, okay? Cuts vision, and then you could use your orb differently. I like the idea of this orb if you're not going to use it for post, if you don't have like a set use case for it. So here, oh, let me grab my orb back. So all I do is aim kind of like, so the middle here, down to here, jump throw. And that's going to block vision here, and it's also going to deep block here so you can get into vent, okay? You can throw this for your teammates, and then you go elsewhere. Right, it's just a good orb. I don't see a lot of teams using that, by the way. But yeah, that's really the main stuff on A. When you're going against low buy, don't be afraid to molly this, molly the flood, whatever. Right, get out and take the site. And yeah, that's pretty much it on A. Right. Other than that, remember. Make sure we're kind of pressuring. Make sure you're cycling the wall up and down throughout the round, because as Viper, you have global presence. You have global ability to pop your util up and down. That means you can still pressure A even when you're standing outside B in the late round, right? You can keep a rotator here because they think that you're walking across. You know what I mean? So pop your stuff up and down throughout the round. It's one thing that you can do. So let's say I do this wall, and I do this wall, and I do this orb, right? You can throw these two. You can pop them up real quick. And you can make a step, and you can leave. You can put them down. And you can listen from inside sewer. Listen to what the sky is doing. Listen if this guy's dogging, if he's sky flashing. If he's sky flashing or dogging, that means that they only have 1 to 2 people on A. They're going for a fight with numbers, okay? But they're doing it because they feel like they need the information, okay? Usually when teams need the information, it's because they're light on that site. So what does that mean? Your team should be hyper aware of a 3x mid fight, some type of raise, maybe a raise trap play or something like that, something off of a cam, or be ready for them to be bunkered 2 in B heaven, 1 vent, and then 1 towards A, right? And then 1 B, kind of a standard setup. But you should always try to listen to the util. If you hear nothing, that means that maybe they have somebody deep top ramp, or who knows, maybe they have an op through the wall holding, right? Or they have a cipher trip here on top ramp. Those are all things that you should try to read as a Viper, okay? Try to make a play, try to signal that you're going across ramp and see what the enemy team's reaction is, read that information, make a judgment call, and the more you do this as a player, the better you're going to be suited to doing it more accurately in the future, okay? So that's pretty much it on A, guys. Let me talk about B now. Really the standard B wall. There's 2 variations. Lots of teams just do this one. Some teams do it a little deeper. So this one gives you access to the site to plant here or here, and then also in post they have to run through it. I mean, they have to run it, but in post with the other one they don't have to run through it to get to the spike. So you have to throw that paired with this orb. Where is it? I always forget this orb. So it's like here. One sec, guys. It's funny, right when I get close to it, I'll be able to remember. Oh, it's here. Yeah, it's here. Okay, so oh no, it's this thing. So in between your ult and your wall, there's the little white dash, the hyphen. The left side of it, I just put at the top of the gray there, and I throw out. Some of these B lineups, it's hard for me to remember them. It's probably the old age. So you pop this up with the Viper wall, and this one allows you to kind of creep out, and you get coverage as you come through, so you can creep out and clear this, but then you can kind of clear this, and systematically just crosshair placement, just clear all these angles and get back sight. And then in the late round, you can grab your orb back, and you can, I'm sure there's ways to one-way, I don't know one, but you could re-smoke spawn, or you could just throw here. This is even probably more oppressive. And then when teams try to retake, you just molly, right? So that's really the pairing that you want to do on B. Let me show a cool orb here, and then some mollies that I think are strong for the B exec. So here it's, again, bear with me for a second. Okay, so here you get in this crack, and your orb, above your orb, there's the left click and the right click. Right in between the middle there, you put that right there. So the top of the middle there, and you just throw. And that's gonna smoke out heaven. Okay, it's gonna full cover, and they can't see anything unless they wanted to go for like a jump spot. But even then, like, what are they gonna do? It's not that strong. So you throw that, and then from the same spot, you can throw 3 mollies that I like. So there's one. Again, give me a second here. There is one. This is hell right here. So right here at the top of this antenna, the tip of the arrow, you throw like that, the arrow above your molly. So that's going to get hell, and it does hit that side too. So there's that. One thing that you should strive to be doing on all agents, not just Viper, is try to have these lineups where you can throw one thing, you can throw everything from the same location, right? It just helps. It's just super easy to do it super fast like that. So there's that one. Then there's, give me a sec here, let me think. I think this is one. So right here on this wire, the left's above your molly. The top left corner there goes flush with that wire. I'm pretty sure this is this. Yeah, so you get opposite pillar. Maybe it's... And then the last one is rafter. So this one... Don't worry about the rafter one. God, I'm so bad at these lineups. I should have had these memorized. I made the video one time. I went all the way through and I got to this point and I remembered the first two and I forgot the hell one, and now I remember the hell one, but I don't remember the other two. Oh my god, that's so annoying. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can figure this out. So there's this one. And then yeah, I think this is still right though. I think it's here. So it's there. Let's see if this is rafter. No. I think it maybe here. So where the Q meets there. Yeah. Okay, so throw that again. So right here at this corner where the Q, the little white diamond above your Q meets this corner. So there's this one, there's this one, and there's this one. Okay, those are like the 3 mollies that you can throw. This one's not perfect, but it's good though. It dissuades people from swinging this side on you, which is what you want. You're not going to be able to kind of punish them on this side anyways. And then the last molly that I want to show for B side is here. So what I do is I just aim like at this sign here, like not this tip here, but this tip of the grass there will land here. So this is really good for your teammates that are scaling out trying to fight this, because it will molly this guy behind the thing, right? So that's really good. And I think I had another molly paired with this. Let me see. So I think here, and then you run into this corner, and I think it's here again. So top left corner of that. Yeah, so with these two, what I would do, if you guys wanted to go for a B hit, like you have Razult or something, so I would go here, I'd throw this, and I'd come here and I'd throw this, and then I would, wall up, and then you guys would go, right? You can even throw the Heaven Orb too if you want, so that's gonna land here and here. And yeah, that's pretty much it on B. And again, really what you want to do on B is pop your wall and orb up and down over the span of the round. Oh, the other thing too is if you want, B main molly at the start of the round is really, really solid. B main control is strong for a lot of reasons on defense. If teams pivot up mid and go B heaven split on you, usually you want to take the fight towards this B main person. It makes the post plant really, really hard for teams if they don't have B main control. So as a defender, if you're able to take control of this, that's really strong. Lots of teams will omen one way this, but then your Viper wall kind of negates that, right? Because you can just walk along it. So mulling this at the start of the round is really solid. Same thing over on A, I forgot to mention that. Mulling this at the start of the round can be really, really strong. Oh, actually, let me show you guys. Oh, there's one more orb that I wanted to show you guys on A, actually. And one molly that I want to show you for mid, okay? So, but this is the molly that I'm talking about. Molly this at the start of the round is really strong. People can't take this aggressive op line, which is really strong to get away with, to deny. The other thing is this orb here. So you line yourself up here with this wall, and then you aim at the top of this little patch of grass, and you just throw, and then you put your molly. I think your molly is right there. So this orb denies top ramp. You can sky flash the left side, like your teammates can sky flash around the corner here, and you can get aggressive control of ramp, right? And then you can pick up your orb, and you can lurk now. You can throw it deeper if you want, right? Now you can do that same thing, the same orb that I was talking about earlier, and you create pressure for yourself to get into ramp, okay? So that was one orb molly lineup that I thought was good. And you could do that with the DRX wall. Or honestly, sometimes you don't even need a wall with it, right? Or you can do this wall, either one. So that was the one that I wanted to show there. And then here, this is the last molly that I want to show. So on this stair, this one is probably the most cringe one that I'm proud of. So you line up on this step here, and I believe, so there's a little speck here, a little white speck. The top left of my left click above my molly, you put the left corner, top left corner up there, and you jump throw. And this one goes through the roof here and lands in heaven. And let me see. I think I can do that better. Hold on. Let me make sure it wasn't. Let's try right here. Sorry, a little lower. So not the speck, but right below the speck where the corner of the green meets the wooden plank here. So jump throw, full force. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so what this does is anybody along this angle here is taking damage, right? Obviously, you're going to smoke this anyways. It's really annoying for people to be able to spam you through this. But then also it kind of traps, if somebody leaves, they get vulnerable leaving, or they're going to be trapped in Be Heaven here, okay? And what you can do is you can raise ult Be Heaven with this, and it's really easy to get control of deep Be Heaven if you wanted to do something like this. You could, instead of smoking male, you could smoke here with a Viper molly in it, and you can, you know what I mean? You can like sky flash up here and then dog up into Be Heaven and then kind of take deeper control really, really fast. This is something that's really strong with breach comps, where breach can just like stun like this, stun male and vent, and then you just smoke vent and you just get up aggressively and take Be Heaven control. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for Viper attack on split. I'll put out a defense video probably over the weekend. Hope you guys learned something, and thank you so much for the support as always. We're over 500 subscribers, which is crazy. I am probably gonna look into getting a video editor when I get probably around 1,000 subs. For now, I'm just gonna keep pumping out the content organically, and then I'll figure out how to optimize. You know, I'll make the videos shorter, be able to cut out a lot of the junk and give you guys just really the solid meat and potatoes, the information of it. Get some cool thumbnails going. Yeah, and whatever else. But yeah, thanks so much for the support and watching the videos. I appreciate it, guys. If you have any questions, or again, if you want to see other things in the future, feel free to drop it in the comments. Yeah, cool. Hope you guys have a good one. I will see you in the next one. Bye.